Located on the WA Coral Coast, the Jurien Bay Marine Park is now home to an underwater artificial snorkeling trail, the first of its kind in Western Australia. The trail starts just 25 metres off the beach, at the end of the old fishing jetty piles. This is the story of how the community project was inspired and developed.
We're about 10 volunteers who used to man the Tourist Information Bureau at the Shire office over the weekend, and I was one of those volunteers. And I noticed that each daily report of the visitors in their requests was that a lot of them wanted to go snorkeling, the old jetty, which has a certain amount of marine life on it, but generally speaking, for visitors to go snorkeling without the use of a boat, they would have to go to, say, Greenhead or Sandy Cape, somewhere out in that area, to get some interest in snorkeling. We want something in 2 to 4 metres of water is ideal. So that's where the idea came from, and then a few of us got together and decided that we'd apply to the Department of Sport and Recreation for a trails grant. Normally those trails grants are walk trails or riding trails or horse trails, and this was the first time they'd had an application, the Department of Sport and Rec had an application for an underwater trail.
Asked me if it could be feasible to build a trail in this location, and it definitely is, because no one's built a dive trail yet in Australia. So I thought it was a fantastic opportunity, especially because it's going to be used by school kids. And that's great. They get to learn about the marine environment.
The Jurien Bay Progress Association, through its Coastal Care Subcommittee, agreed to develop the project and investigate funding options. Negotiations with various government departments and with the considerable support of the West Midlands Group, funding was secured and the project could begin. The Reef Ball moulds arrived from Sydney in June 2013, and David Lennon from Reef Ball Australia arrived soon after. It was time for the Jurien Bay men's shed to shine. David spent a week with the men teaching them how to construct the reef balls. After learning the art of casting the concrete modules and avoiding the pitfalls, the shedders were now experts, and over 5 weeks, they produced 78 reef balls of various sizes.
It's definitely not a ball, and that always confuses people when people immediately think of ball. Originally, back maybe 20 years ago, the first one was a ball and they rolled it down the beach and put it in. But a reef ball is actually more of an igloo shape. It's got a large centre void, and then it's got a variety of sized holes through the sides and a big centre hole in the top. And they come in a range of sizes from 15 kilos, which they often use for little oyster reefs in estuaries, right up to 3-5 tonne that we use for deeper reefs and for breakwaters. The ones that they're using here, they've got a mix of 3 different sizes, which is great, because building a reef is just like building a town. And to get a vibrant town, you want a diversity of different size buildings. You want a business section, you want an eating section, you want perhaps taller buildings, and it's the same when building a reef. So they've got 3 different size reef balls from about 150 kilo. The next one up is around 250 kilo, and then you've got the larger one, which is going to be around 750 kilo. So they've got nice diversity there, and that means more different types of habitat, more different types of marine life will take up residence.
With the reef balls completed, construction began. The main concern of the construction group was how to get the reef balls from the beach to their final location, with some of the reef balls weighing up to 3/4 of a tonne. An initial trial using a modified box trailer chassis proved unsatisfactory and very time-consuming. However, in situ constructions came to the rescue. The company that built the new Jurien Bay jetty kindly donated the use of 2 large pontoons. With 4 teams of volunteers ready, 1 on the water, 1 on the beach, 1 in the search rescue boat, and 1 on the fishing boat Hot Tuna, the boys were ready for action. Manoeuvring the reef balls from the beach to their final location also proved to be challenging. After loading the reef balls onto the pontoon, the sea search and rescue crew would take the rope from the pontoon to hot tuna. Then, with a push from the loader and a pull from the boat, the pontoon would float and start its journey.
Yeah, I think you got it.
The divers would swim out and attach an anchor rope from the pontoon, which was tied off at the jetty piles. Once the divers were clear, the captain of Hot Tuna would manoeuvre the pontoon into position, taking up the slack on the tow rope. Then it was simply a matter of applying some forward motion. The pontoon would slip out, leaving the reef balls to find their final location.
Right away, within minutes they're there checking it out, and it's a bit like opening up a new shopping centre. There's a lot of excitement, all the fish come around and they want to know what's this new habitat, and they're all busy checking it out, finding a little place that they like. But the food is the key as well. It's not just about protection, it's also about food. So the food that grows on these balls will take a bit of time. You know, it'll go over months and even over a year. It's still evolving. So as more different types of food grow on the reef balls, then you get more fish coming as well. And you'll get migratory fish coming too, a bit like tourists just coming into the town for a visit at certain times of year, and then they move on. But then you'll have your core residents that stay on the reef ball reefs forever. Well, there's a lot of juvenile blowies, there's a lot of other juvenile stripies and other juveniles around the pilings, which is good news because the reef can also cater to those. There's quite good growth and colour, sponges, even corals on the pilings, which is a good indication of the water quality and what will take up residence on the reef balls. There's also down a bit deeper, around 6-7 metres, there's a good amount of seaweed, and of course that's food for your crabs and other critters, sort of the basis of the food chain, so that'll help fuel the reef. So it's a nice area because it's going to have a snorkeling shallow area, and then you've got a slope to a deeper area in about 5-6 metres, and so you're going to have a bit of variety. So it'll be a nice difference. So you can have a look at the shallow one, and then you'll go see different things on the deeper reef.
These are some of the many faces we'd like to thank. The Jurien Bay Men's Shed volunteers, Jurien Charter and Dive for the use of hot tuna, Jurien Sea Search and Rescue for their support, crew and boats, Jurien Bay Concrete and Earthworks for the front end loader, In Situ Constructions for the pontoon, the Shire of Dan Darrigan, Jurien Trenching and Excavation, and a special mention to Drew Demure, Brad Faulkner, Paul Jordan and Steve Butenhouse for their diving duties. The Jurien Bay Snorkeling Trail was launched in November 2013, although the project will be ongoing for a few more years. We hope you enjoy exploring the new artificial snorkeling trail in Jurien Bay.